I gave this example once. I said, you ever been to a nightclub sober? When you're in a nightclub sober, you notice absolutely everything around you. You're looking at every other table, you're looking at the people at the door. You just take in the whole location, and you're standing around usually bored. But if you're a nightclub drunk, if you were to ask anything that happened off of your table, you don't. Because everything, the fun's right here, everyone's right here, and you're having your fun and you're drinking your alcohol, but you have no perception of anything that goes on anywhere else in the nightclub. And that's a very easy experiment to do if you typically drink in clubs. Go to a club sober. Notice how many other things you notice about that place. And it's the same with your worldview. And it's the same with, like you said, realizing what's actually happening everywhere else in your country, with your society, with your taxes, with your job. See, drinking, I drink, by the way. I still drink, but I advise some people not to drink because I think it's all about personality types. It depends how content you are with yourself, how happy you are with yourself. It's not good for you. It's not something you should make a habit of. But I've met people where every time they get drunk, they become an absolute nuisance. And I've said to them, I sat them down and said, you need to stop drinking because alcohol is bad for you. If I have a few drinks, I'm sitting there telling jokes, playing cards with my friends, go to sleep, wake up, do my work anyway. But for some people, every kind of substance is much worse than for others. I think there's a scale of it. I know very high functioning people who take cocaine. I also know total degenerates who take cocaine. So with drinking, my advice, because people watch me and they say, oh, but you drink, you advise young men not to drink. Yeah, don't make a habit of it. And if you find yourself getting in a fight, upsetting your family, if you wake up the next day after a good drink and everyone's mad at you, maybe alcohol's not, something that you should partake in at all. And I feel it's shifting. It's been part of human culture for so many thousands of years. But in this day and age, fewer people are drinking than ever because there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more other ways to entertain yourself than just getting drunk. So hopefully that becomes less of a problem, especially in the UK where it is.
It's a massive problem.
It's a pandemic.
Yeah, it's so normalised. We've got football on every night. It's so easy to then go to the pub. Remember, it lowers your depression and raises your confidence. It's a beautiful thing. There's sometimes I miss it because of the feeling. I was at a beach bar yesterday and friends were drinking and I'm just sitting there. And it was great for 2 hours, but then the noise gets louder and it's the grabbing and it's more personal questions. Like, I like to walk into a room like you walked in, big, smooth, fucking owned the place.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's an elegant of confidence. Same as when you walk into events, everybody's sheepish. 2 hours later, they've all up shaking their little asses on the dance floor, all loud. But speak to them the next day, and I've not got problems with anybody drinking. Anybody can do what they want. I just can't, because if I drink, I'm straight on the coke. I'm fucking phoning hookers, or I'm in the gambling or whatever. I go completely insane.
Yeah, so it's just something that you shouldn't touch.
I can't put one bet on. I can't take one line. And also because I know how good my life is from nothing, from staying in my mum's house 7 years ago to totally transitioning my life to then leaving a little legacy and something my kids can respect and hopefully and go, if he can do it, I can do it. But it's a tough journey.
Yeah. My new rule I've basically set for myself, especially in this day and age when I'm a public person and I don't want to set a bad example, my real drinking is in my house with my friends. That's when I drink. If I'm sitting up late at night talking to my friends, I'll have a drink. If I'm playing poker, I'll sit in my house and drink. I don't drink in public. I will never be spotted drunk, stumbling out in a public place. I really, really try to avoid that kind of thing because now I know there's lots of eyes on me and I never want to be that guy.
I'd be scared. I'd be on fucking Instagram lives calling everybody out when if I drinking.
Well, luckily I'm banned from Instagram, but it's tempting sometimes,
Yeah.
Gotta stay off Twitter.
How is it though when you're going through everything in life? Do you wake up with a hangover?
I read a study saying about how there's this strange percentage of people who don't really get hungover, who can drink without throwing up and just drink and that's it. And I don't know if it's the Irish gene in me or something, but I can outdrink basically everyone I've ever met. Bigger, heavier, doesn't matter. If I want to drink, not that it's a contest, I can outdrink basically every person I've ever set eyes on. That's sober, just alcohol. Nothing else. Like, there's a few guys who get on the gear and they're a bit stronger, but. Yeah, I've never had a problem with it. If I go for a night out, I'll drink. I'll still wake up at 8, 9, 10. I used to drink, if I didn't have a fight coming up, I used to drink when I was actively kickboxing. And I'd wake up and do my training anyway. And sometimes you have a bit of a headache or a bit of a dry mouth, but I've never really suffered with hangovers.
What about the smoking? Because you've always got those little fucking cigars.
Yeah, so I actually didn't smoke my first cigar until I retired from professional fighting. So it's advice I give to young men all the time. They say, you smoke, can I smoke? I say, yeah. when you're 30. I said, what do you mean 30? That's wild. Like the smoking age is 16 or 18. Why do you say 30? I say, because cigarettes are enjoyable, cigars are enjoyable. They really are. And if you dedicate your 20s to sport or work and you become a successful person, you've been in good shape your whole life. I mean, me and Andrew are in very good shape now for our age. I'm 36, he's 38. We're approaching 40 and we look very good for our age, is because in our youth, we did nothing but train ourselves all day, every day. So now if I want to have a little cigarette, if I want to have a cigar, I don't feel bad about it. I was saying this to a friend of mine who's 24. He works for me. I said, you've smoked more cigarettes in your life, because he just quit, than I will ever smoke. And he said, yeah. I said, you're 24, you've smoked more cigarettes in your life than I will ever smoke. I smoked my first cigarette 2023 when I was in prison, in January 2023. That's the first time I ever inhaled smoke from anything. Before that, it was just cigars. And I said, don't you feel bad that you wasted all of those enjoyable cigarettes, which are great, reading a book or having a conversation or having a drink with your friends or out on a date? Cigarettes are great. Aren't you sad that you wasted them all scrumping your last money together to buy a pack to sit behind a bus stop and smoke all these cigarettes all day? He went, yeah, I kind of did, because I'm 24 now. I've got to quit because I've been smoking prolifically since age 15 years of age. So he smoked more cigarettes than I ever will in my life. But yeah, I do smoke now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like smoking, and I don't apologize for smoking.